I do think I can predict that this might be a short meeting. I think we've all got our agendas in front of us. And let me get to my agenda. Yep, it's call to order. So the first order of business is the approval of the June 4th, 2025 minutes, which Philip did send out. If you've not had a chance to read them, if you want to read them now, but if anyone wants to make a motion to accept them as presented, please do. Okay, Dale Teeling, is there a second? Peg Eastman, I'll call the question. Everyone in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Okay, so thank you. We have approved the minutes. The Liberty Square marker, British evacuation of Charleston. Thank you all for being here for the change of wording. We did send this off to Edwin Breeden the day or two after the meeting. As y'all will remember, we were stuck on the odd phrase of, which I guess is reflected in the minutes, of it was originally, on the second side, the numbers, it was at the second side on the numbers of ships, and we tried to do it out. Edwin specifically thought that that was not acceptable. So that's why we're here today, to read the amended ones. And I did explain to him that Ken Scarlett was fine with the emendation that we made, but still it was Edwin Breeden's thought that that information could be made better. So you can see now that we have what has been sent to us. Is there any discussion? Okay, there was a movement by David McCormick, seconded by Mickey Rosenblum. Can I call the question? Sure. Right. Well, my memory was that when Ken was saying, I forget what the exact number was, he said that Francis Marion had possibly, or someone had said that there could be as many as 500, but that was not a documented source. And he was including not just military ships, but, other barks that were maybe taking away the bells of St. Michael's and a variety of things as well. So I think, speaking for Edwin Breeden, if I can, he was actually sticking to the more accepted facts. Right. And I think that's what Ken Scarlett believes. I do not think that is what Edwin Breeden believes, in my perception. So I think that's why. And is your memory different?
I can get the emails up if we want, but if I recall exactly correctly, last time we had it as I think it was 132 300 ships, so it wasn't ever over 300. And Ken, when he was here, was good with that language. And then we put, or you all put hundreds of ships last time, went back, and then Edwin said, oh, if it's 130, that's only 130, so it's not hundreds. So let's do up to 300. And if I recall correctly, he did say he had spoken with Ken about that, and that was acceptable to him.
Your memory is better than mine. Yes, thank you. That's exactly what did happen. Yep. So apparently this does, in discussion, it does satisfy Ken Scarlett and the South Carolina Department of Archives and History. Any more discussion? So can we call the vote? Everyone in favor, please say aye. Thank you. Any abstentions or negatives? I see not. And D item on our agenda is a presentation by Dale Teeling. So Dale, and turn on your microphone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had sent around a picture of a mock-up of a plaque. Yes, sir, that's it. That's it on the board, that's fine, right there.
Okay.
That's not yet made, but that's the mock-up from the company that pours these bronze tablets. And I'll tell you what it is first. It lists 37 individuals who have received the Medal of Honor and who are from or called South Carolina home. 37. And with that, the lines that you can see that are underlined are actually the names of the conflicts. So it's very professionally done, and this information comes from the Medal of Honor Society.
I was curious, what is the second Nicaraguan campaign?
Second Nicaraguan, I don't know. But that's the one that came after the first.
Yeah, sure.
But it was distinctive enough that he was honored.
Medal of Honor.
Right. Okay, what's going on here? The Board of Field Officers, which is the owner of Marion Square, and I'm the chairman, decided we want to honor these men. They're all males, and in a public way. We have a flagpole on Marion Square, and in 2017, we dedicated it to anyone from in South Carolina who ever wore an American military uniform. Very broad, but well-defined. Okay, so now we want to add to it a second plaque, and it'll be round or at least curved, which will have this on it. The stars represent the Medal of Honor Society. We had originally planned to put likenesses of the 3 different Medals of Honor. There's 3 different services that have their own. Took up too much room. We went with the stars, and this shape and size and content is exactly the size that will fit on the space available on the flagpole. We could not add another name. We could not add a date. We could not add the Board of Field Officers as being the host or provider. This is being brought to you as information. We like to hear people's opinion, but what I like to do is keep people informed. We hope that this will be on the flagpole for years to come. I'll be glad to answer your questions about the cooperation with the Medal of Honor Society. Y'all know General Livingston. He's my prime guy on this. And we're putting together an invitation list, Mr. Chairman, and I intend to have an invitation come to you whereby you can notify all members of this commission to attend. It's a public event. We have not yet set a date. The reason for that is there's several moving parts. The people involved are involved in a lot of other things. Plus there's other uses of Marion Square all the time. And my plan is on Monday, the 7th of July, to announce the date, but I'm still receiving advice.
Veterans Day would be great.
Sir?
Veterans Day.
Well, thank you for that suggestion. Saturdays had to be ruled out because of farmer's market and holiday market.
And it's a Tuesday, I know, because it's my birthday,
Okay? Well,
November the 11th.
and you can be assured General Livingston's going to be somewhere else on that
That's
day.
probably
Okay. So,
Well, I have one question. Will there be ability to ever put up another plaque, for instance, if either other, heaven forbid, other wars or whatever that would result in other people receiving the Medal of Honor?
on this plaque, no.
No, I know that, but I mean, on the
and-
flagpole, would there be a any rain?
Not likely.
Not likely.
And that's not a good thing because we don't have a date on this.
Right.
That's a reason to have a date on this. Well, when was this done and why is so-and-so on here? And I will ask my Master Chief, who's handling this whole thing, if he can just get them to put a date back in the corner somewhere. That's a good question. It's not malleable enough to add anybody now, certainly not later.
That's a great idea.
Thank you.
I was impressed with the biographies too.
Oh, that's the other thing that was sent around. And this was prepared, y'all have to know that General Livingston has a a civilian staff of 2 hardworking guys, and one of them wrote this, or compiled, I'll say, this booklet, which you all have electronically, and it tells you,
Interesting if you haven't read
it
it.
really is.
There's a bio
Right,
of each
right.
of the.
South Carolina per capita, most. Yeah. So thanks for sharing. I think it's a great idea, you know. And I know it's impossible, but, you know, I think the idea of a date's great and, you know, since we always pitch our conversation to people who know nothing, but I understand space limitations, you know, it would be great if you could have some kind of even a link back to the Medal of Honor, you know, museum itself. But again, I understand, you know, space, as we well understand, space
Yes.
pretty much drives content for us. But
Well, thanks for appreciating that. That plaque is 13 by
that's
15.
gonna-
The
So you-
space,
you got a lot of.
the space between the existing plaque and the key, there's a key ring on the flagpole, is exactly 15 inches. You can't expand it.
Mhm. I understand. Yep,
But I will ask for them to at least put a date down in the bottom corner.
right. And you also wonder if, and again, I think it is only for information purposes for us, since that is not necessarily city property. Um,
It's not city property.
Right, so, no, but it, you know, the public certainly has
Yeah.
access to it and sees it all the time, and the public misconceives it as being,
The city manages it
right. as being
completely, and
public
permits the use of it.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, just, you know, y'all do have the option of expanding the base of the flagpole and putting more information at some point. But, so, no, and I will just caution you, and I'm sure you have, make sure everybody's name's spelled right, you know? I started thinking, you know, but again, I'm sure you've already done that.
I have not, but I've relied on the Medal of Honor Society.
And again, the more eyes that look at it, as we all know, you know.
We didn't spell Medal of Honor wrong, did we? That's,
It's according to whether you want the British or the
Right.
American. spelling.
Right.
that's an
Are-
American thing.
Are you in honor? Right, yeah.
And I'm told not to say Congressional Medal of Honor. It was approved by Congress a long time ago, right at the time of the Civil War. But it's not, it's presented and issued by the president, not the Congress. Congress doesn't decide on each of these recipients. The president, with advice, does. And I'll tell you that the South Carolina list includes 6 names, all of whom received it in World War I, and they were members of the 1st and 118th Infantry from Charleston.
Well, thank you, Dale. Are there any other questions for the commissioner?
I appreciate you bringing it here.
So, Thank
Yeah,
thank you
no.
for allowing me to be here with it.
No, and we appreciate knowing this and being made aware of it. So the next order of business is miscellaneous business. I can just say by way of miscellaneous, that I've not heard back from Edwin Breeden, but I did email him asking him, you know, to avoid us having to meet again if he, you know, since we do have a Zoom link for these meetings, if the next time the South Carolina Department of Archives and History submits a marker, if he would care to join us via Zoom to maybe prevent things like this. And is there an ability, Philip, to leave a comment, or is it only, if someone logs in on Zoom, can they only see or can they comment?
If we know he's coming in and we have his information beforehand, we can let him into the Zoom and he could video conference or he could type in the chat, whichever would be more convenient. But yes, that is possible.
Okay, well, that's great. So like I said, I've not heard back from him, but, you know, I would ask, like I said, just FYI, our time is limited and valuable. I did ask him, you know, to prevent, you know, having to meet again to change a word or two, if he could, or someone from his staff could attend the meetings, you know, virtually, that would save us some time and answer some questions. Or, you know, I guess easier than sending a representative. Is there any other business that people would like to discuss? David, and you're green.
You're gonna do that, it'd be for a limited purpose like today of some minor thing. Because I think if you begin to allow people to do that, it's been my experience dealing as an attorney doing mediations, that people talk a lot more, and they, kind of get off track a lot more if they're not in the room and if they're at a screen. So
Right.
I would just caution that that should be a real rare exception rather than develop it into a norm.
No, my thought would be is that it would only be the person who is not open to the general public, but only the person that's presenting the plaque, like
Oh,
the South
okay.
Carolina Department of Archives and History. So, if they could have said, no, we think hundreds is wrong, and maybe we should change the word too. So I did not mean to say that anybody could weigh in, but the person presenting the plaque, specifically the state archives, doing something like this where words,
That'd be fine.
yeah, okay. So, any other discussion? I will just say just for information purposes, I think we're very fortunate to have Philip here. I did have a conversation with Jennifer Cook, who is attorney for, or she is clerk of council, that's what I thought. About this commission, about maybe, I don't know if this commission or maybe citywide, changing some kind of membership rules that if one misses X number of meetings, maybe one should not be on it, and maybe, appointment more. But she really does know, the work that people put in, but she does know the issue that we have, thanks to Philip, about scrambling for quorum. So there might be some movement on that part. And again, you know as much as I know, but I thought I would just report that again as information. So seeing that there's no other business, do we have a movement to adjourn? Seconded? Okay, thank you all for coming. Have